Hey everyone, Arion James here. Tint shops struggle to grow month after month, not because they don't have a lack of customers, but because they have a lack of systems and leaks in their business. And in this video, we're going to go through what those leaks are and how to fix them. So I want you to think of your business as a bucket, and this bucket represents your business, and the water coming in is money. But we can see with this bucket, it's got holes in it, and obviously water is coming out of these holes. Now, these holes represent problems or leaks in your business where you are leaking water or money, per se. And we're going to go through 8 types of holes or leaks in your tint business, or any trades business for that matter, that you can fix right now. Because the last thing you want to do is try and grow your business while you've got these holes. So you need to patch these holes before you grow, because if you grow before you've patched them, these holes are just going to get bigger and you're just scaling problems at the end of the day. So the first hole, lead flow. Leads come in from multiple channels via Instagram DMs, Facebook, phone calls, Google, all over the place, but you've got no centralized inbox. So every day, if you're a tint business owner or you're handling the admin, you're going through each platform every single day to sift through inquiries. And that is obviously very time consuming. Now, you've got no CRM or pipeline. It's all either in your head or Notes app. So you need one platform that funnels all of these different platforms into one, essentially, like Go High Level, if you're familiar with that, because you don't want to be winging it at all. And this obviously leads to inquiries falling through the cracks. Customers ask for a quote and you end up ghosting them for 3 days and they end up going elsewhere. So if you're wondering why you're not closing jobs, try responding to your leads as soon as they come in, like in under 30 seconds, and see how much your business changes. And not only that, funnel all of these inquiries into one platform, and your business will be so much more streamlined. You're going to save so much time, and you are actually going to make more money. Answering leads instantly is absolutely huge. You cannot leave it for like a couple hours or think that you're just going to reply to them later. You're much less likely to close them. And think of it like this: you're collecting rainwater in 6 different buckets and forgetting when you put them. So you've got all these different platforms, i.e. the 6 buckets. You've got 6 platforms, and like you're just forgetting when you put them. You know, it's messy, it's chaos, and doing that over a long enough period of time, you're going to have loads of inquiries falling through the cracks. Now, how many quotes did you send last month that you never followed up on? Follow-ups are also a big one as well. A lot of people, we as humans need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. So if you're never following up on your leads, you know, you can never just expect to close them just off one conversation. I mean, you can a lot of the time, but follow-ups are essentially the final leaks in the bucket that you need to fix when it comes to your lead flow. And it's all got to stem from all these different platforms into one funnel. They all go through the same process. They all get followed up on, doesn't matter how many times. And then you have a whole lead system, essentially. So that's that one. Now, hole 2, quoting and pricing inconsistency. Pricing is usually done off the top of your head. Same job quoted differently depending on your mood or how busy you are. So a lot of tint shops, they will price based off the competition, and they don't actually know like what the profit margins are and stuff like that. But also, you kind of just come up with it in your head, and I've seen this a lot. Not every tint shop does this, but there are a lot that do it. They just make a price up on the spot. There's no standardized quote template, no tiered packages, good, better, or best. So this is really good, especially if you're in America where you have like ceramic tint and the different types of tint. So you want to capture different leads at different budgets. So obviously the best tint is ceramic. You know, that's going to be your best seller, your most expensive option. But you don't want to just leave out the ones that only have the budget for like a good tint, so like a carbon tint. You know, so having this tiered system, you're going to close a lot more tint jobs and you're going to get a lot more work in. Leaving upsell money on the table. Nobody's being offered ceramic versus standard or a full car versus partial. Upsell is another huge one. If you're just offering ceramic tint, you're pretty much filtering out the people that don't have the budget for it. Maybe they do want to come to you, but they only have the budget for carbon tint or just a standard tint. So having a tiered system is going to be massively beneficial. Another upsell is something like light tints. So when I ran my tint shop, after I would tint a customer's windows, I would always ask them if they wanted their lights tinted as well. And I would do it while they were there. After I've done the tint job, I would ask them if they want their lights tinted. Now, say the light tint costs $100, for example. But while they're there, you can offer them a discount there and then, a big discount as well. So I would give them a 50% discount if they wanted the lights done right now. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. As money in the bank, essentially. And headlight tints, they don't take long at all, and it's just an easy upsell. And it doesn't have to be light tints either. It could be sun strips, a chameleon, whatever you want to upsell them. Give them a discount there and then, just for a bit of incentive to take action right now rather than down the line. You want money in the bank right now. Now, think of a restaurant with the menu without the prices. The chef or the owner just guesses what to charge. So it's like you go into a restaurant and you don't know how expensive it is. You open a menu and it's only the list of food items that you can buy, but you don't know how much each one is. And that's essentially how a lot of tint businesses run. Now, if a customer asks for a quote and you're not there, can your team handle it consistently? This will lead on to another point where staffing and the owner need to be present or don't need to be present, how they can run without you. So just think of this question. If a customer asks for a quote and you're not there, can your team handle it? If you're a solo window tint owner, tint shop owner, which most people are, and you get an inquiry come in, you're probably not going to respond to that inquiry immediately because you're too busy tinting the car that you're on already. So again, you need a system to put that in place. Now, hole number 3, booking and scheduling chaos. So you might take bookings over WhatsApp, phone, or DM. You've got no centralized calendar, and this kind of ties into hole 1, which you'll end up having double bookings, no shows with no deposit taken, jobs running over because nothing is time blocked properly, rushing jobs leading to issues and returns. So you'll notice that the lack of these leaks have consequences, but these consequences also have consequences. So you're booking on, you don't have a centralized calendar. That's going to lead to double bookings, no shows, jobs running over, rushing jobs, leading to issues and returns. That's essentially the end consequence. Now, the owner becomes the bottleneck. Nothing gets booked without them. And think of this like a barber that relies on walk-ins, which is a lot of barbers. It could be quiet 1 hour, then the next hour it's rammed, and the barber doesn't know. It's just unpredictable. Everyone just turns up and hopes for the best. The good barbers are rammed, the shop looks disorganized, customers wait an hour or leave. Meanwhile, the barber down the road with an online booking system has his whole week mapped out by Monday morning. So a lot of barbershops, they just rely purely on walk-ins. So it's their revenue is totally unpredictable. They don't know when they're actually going to be cutting hair, at what time. They're just relying on luck, essentially, and hope, which is never a good business strategy. But ones that have an online booking system, they know exactly who's coming in, at what time, how long it's going to take. And it just makes the process so much easier, both for the barber and the customer as well, because at least they know when they'll be out and how long they're waiting, if they're going to wait. Now, what happens to your diary when you're sick for a day? Do you have to cancel jobs? Imagine you have like $1,000 worth of tint work booked for a day, and it's only you. And for whatever reason, you become ill that day, and then you're in bed, you can't get out, you got a cold or I don't know, whatever, and you can't do it. Can you reschedule it? Maybe, but this is where staffing comes in. But next one. No shows and cancellations. So jobs booked with no deposit equals zero commitment from the customer. So this is fucking huge. Under no circumstance should you ever book a job with no deposit. I don't care how much the customer promises to turn up. Do not take a job without a deposit. Even if it's like a $20 or $30 deposit, the customer has some skin in the game then. So if a customer doesn't pay a deposit, just fuck them off. They were never going to be good customers anyway. And if you are going to take a deposit, a $20 or $30 deposit, then they refuse, they were never going to pay. They will probably cause you issues down the line as well with, like, I don't know, minor returns and stuff like that, like for imperfections that were never there. So a $300 to $500 job cancelled. what does that say? A $300 to $500 job cancelled, which means day off means half empty bay and a wasted day. So yeah, essentially the bays you have in your unit or if you're mobile, cars need to be in those bays all the time to make money. And even if a customer pays a deposit and they don't turn up, well, at least you got their deposit. And now it's up to you how much you want to charge for deposit. There are some companies that charge like a $20 or $30 deposit, and some people that charge for the full thing up front. You know, you want the customer to have some skin in the game as well. Now, you might not have an automated reminder system. You know, the customer just simply forgot. So if you're booking a tint job for like 3 weeks in advance, unless the customer themselves are organized, which you don't really want to rely on, they might forget. And if they paid a $20 deposit on a $200 tint job, you know, and they forgot about it, yeah, you got $20, but you also missed out $180. So sending them like a reminder text a week before, the day before, on the day, just so they never forget. And think of it like this: a restaurant that takes table reservations but never asks for a card, empty tables every Friday night. So it's like when you book a reservation and they ask for your card details in case you don't turn up, they will charge you the average amount of that menu. And this is exactly how you should be treating your tint shop. Now, how many no-shows did you have last month? Multiply by your average job value. So if you had 5 no-shows last month because you decided not to take a deposit and to take the customer's word for it, which you should never do, and each job was, say, worth around $200, well, that's $1,000 of just lost work because you didn't want to take a $20 or $30 deposit. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, under no circumstance should you not take a deposit. Customer needs skin in the game as well. Hole 5, reputation and reviews. Window tinting is a high trust visual service. Reviews are absolutely everything. Your reputation is the lifeblood, apart from money. Your reputation is the lifeblood of your business. So the job gets done, customer's happy, but the owner never asks for a review. And if you do let them go first to leave a review, you're much less likely to do it. So if you do a tint job for a customer or a wrap job or PPF, whatever, they see the result there and then in your unit, ask for the review there and then, because that's when the customer is on the most high, because they've just seen a huge transformation. Get them to leave a review there and then. You can get one of them like QR codes where you scan your phone on the QR code and it comes up with your Google profile or Yelp or Trustpilot, whatever. Do not let them go first, then send them a message. You know, they're much less likely to do it. They'll tell you to do it. They'll be like, yeah, I'll do it later or tonight when I've got time, and they never do it. And you don't want to be mithering customers about that either. So, which leads on to no automated post-job message requesting for a Google review. Again, what we just covered. Now, competitors with 200 plus reviews are winning the click even when your work is better. This is, again, reputation is everything. So a customer with 200 plus 5-star reviews is always going to be more trustworthy, and 99% of the time is going to beat the shop down the road with 10 reviews. Even though technically the shop with 10 reviews might actually do a better job. But this shop here are actively collecting reviews for every single customer. Now, think of it like this: you're winning every football game, but you're not putting it on the scoreboard. No one knows you won. If you do a really good job for a customer and a customer's really happy with it, get them to leave a review. You know, sometimes you do have to pester these people. You want them to convey how good their experience was with you. So reviews are absolutely everything, and you need a way to systemize it because it can get pretty time consuming asking every single person for a review. Now, what's your Google review count versus your closest competitor? You know, if you had more reviews, how much business would you have? If you automated that entire process, how much time would you save as well? And, you know, how many customers are you going to take from your local competitor? You know, you've got to think like this. You know, these customers that are shopping around for tint shops, you're competing with all the other tint shops. So you want to make sure you have the biggest leg to stand on, basically. So, and reviews is a huge part of that, especially if you have over 200. I mean, that's a lot of 5-star reviews. Hole 6, repeat business and referrals. So this is a huge one, and tint shop owners never think of this. Customers who got their car done is a warm audience for friends, family, second cars or vans. Now, obviously, so yes, window tinting is like a one-time transaction thing. There's no monthly recurring revenue. But if you utilize this, I guarantee you it will become a monthly recurring revenue thing. So if you're doing a customer's car, ask them, do they have any friends that want their cars tinted, or what about their family, or do they have another car, or a fleet of vans or something? When they're warm, you're more likely to get other warm leads coming from that person. And I did this in my car tint business. So I would tint someone's car, and then I would incentivize them to tell their friends to get their cars tinted. And I would incentivize them by offering a commission. So I would give the first customer X% off. Sorry, I would give the referral money off their window tint order. And I would give the first customer a commission as well. So they were massively incentivized because they're essentially making money just by directing their network to me, basically. So this is it. You've got no referral program. You've got no follow-up message at the 6 to 12 month mark, just to remind them, do you know anyone that needs a tint? And as we mentioned, humans, we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. And again, you're treating every sale as a one-off transaction rather than a relationship. So you actually want to build relationships with your customers. That goes hand in hand with customer service. It makes them trust you more, especially if you do a good job, and you're way more likely to get referrals from that. Now, think of it like this. The farmer who never harvests, he plants the seeds, tends the crops, puts in all the work, and then just decides to walk away before picking anything. The harvest was right there and he left it to rot. Your past customers are a crop you've already grown. You're just not picking from them. So when you've tinted a customer's car, it's so easy for them to refer you. You just got to find a way to incentivize them. And it's like, you're almost there, you're almost there. You just got to find a way to incentivize these people to tell their friends, family, whatever, work colleagues, whatever. Now, when was the last time you contacted a customer intentionally? Most tint business owners are just, they do the job and they just totally forget about it. There's no keeping them warm. They don't even remember their name. Nothing. They just treat it as a one-time transaction. So, don't do that. Hole 7, staff and training. The owner is the only one who knows how to quote, install, and handle complaints. The business can't run without them. They have no SOPs, no training docs, and no install checklists. One bad install from an undertrained fitter equals a chargeback, bad review, and a redo job eating into a margin, which is like a death sentence to a tint shop, basically. So when it comes to hiring fitters, a lot of tint shops will hire cheap and hope they would do a good job. When you're hiring a tinter, if you want to hire a well-trained tinter, you are going to have to pay that premium, and you might not see that return for another 3 to 6 months or beyond that. So don't try and cut costs, because if you hire an undertrained tinter for less, you'll end up keep making that mistake and you end up paying more, essentially. So think of it like a football team where only the manager knows the tactics. The moment he's absent, the whole team falls apart. So imagine a football coach who doesn't even tell the players the tactics. It's like that. And it will just absolutely destroy the football team. So you need to make sure. And the whole thing with training people as well is that when you train someone, a lot of tint businesses and wrap businesses, they have this fear that when they train someone up, they will just go off and start their own business, which is true. That happened. I've done it. I won't lie. But you don't teach them the business side of things. You just teach them the technical side. You can be the best at tinting windows, but if you have no idea how to run a business, you're going to run into the ground. So if you took 2 weeks off tomorrow, what would break? And if the answer is your entire business, then you've got some work to do. So the 8th and final hole, job costing and margin awareness. This is another big one. Owners price based on what feels right, with no real understanding of material costs, labor, and overhead per job. So if you're tinting a car, let's say you're tinting a 5 Series saloon or sedan for you Americans, if you don't know how many square feet or square meterage you use when tinting that car, how are you ever going to know what profit you're making on that job? You need to know how much it costs you per square foot or per square meter. So you'll have busy months that feel tight, high turnover, low profit. So have you ever had it where you've had a busy spell or a busy season, and after that busy season, you found that you've not actually profited much? You've got high turnover, you're very busy, but you've not profited much. And that's because a lot of tint shop owners don't know their actual costs. They don't know how much profit they're making per car. They're not tracking which job makes the most money. Is it auto? Is it a fleet contracts, residential or commercial for flat glass? And think of it like running a delivery route without checking the fuel cost. A driver does 15 drops a day, gets paid per drop, feels productive, never sat down to work out that the fuel, the van, the wear and tear, and his time actually makes 6 of those drops unprofitable. Cutting those 6 and optimizing those other 9 would earn him more for less work. And I did this. So I used to do mobile window tinting, and the van I had was a Citroen Berlingo, and I would not take account for my fuel costs because my fuel was very cheap. Essentially, the fuel was costing me less than the raw materials of the tint alone. So I never took it into account, and I would have these busy seasons and I would not profit much from them. I'd be turning over a lot, but my profit was low. So you need to make sure that you know exactly what your costs are, not just how much tint you use or what it costs you per square meter or square foot, but labor as well. Now, do you know your profit margin per job type right now off the top of your head? If you don't know the answer, then you really need to go and learn it. So those are 8 of the holes in a window tint business. I mean, these are probably in like most trade businesses, to be fair. You might not have all of these, but if you do have all of them, then we have some serious work to do. Don't even think about growing before you fix as many holes as you can, essentially. Now, we can think of it like this, as we mentioned earlier. You've got a bucket with the money coming in, but the money's coming out of the holes. Now, if you try and grow like this, yeah, you're going to have more money coming in, but your holes are going to be bigger as well. So you're going to have more money leaking. So you want to make sure holes are patched before you even try to scale. And this is the scaling trap. Most tint shop owners hit a ceiling and think the answer is more leads or run more ads. But if the bucket has 6 holes, more water or money just means more water on the floor. And what you're doing is scaling a broken system, which gives you more stress, more chaos, and more money lost at volume. The most profitable shops aren't always the busiest, they're the most systemized. So the ones that have all the systems in place are going to be the ones that are most profitable. So this is a tint shop that's totally systemized. You can see there's no water coming out, there's no money leaking from anywhere. They've got all the money in the bucket. Now when they grow, they're just going to make more money. They're not leaking any money from anywhere. So this is what you want to aim for. Starting small, fixing all your leaks, and then growing. Patch the holes first, and then pour the water. Now, if what you just saw was helpful to you in any way, and you want to learn more about what we do, because we can do all of this and more, all for you, essentially putting it on steroids, then book a call with myself with the first link in the description. And thank you for taking the time out to watch this video.